I'm here. I definitely want to welcome everybody to the show. Yeah, there I go. There I go. I don't know what happened. I disappeared for a moment. So, for those of you who are popping on right now, I definitely want to send everybody a big shout out. Yours truly is in the house tonight. So, we're gonna get right on up into this thing tonight. So, we're talking about Black history in regards to the ancient, free, and accepted Masons. And yes, we're going to even throw in some modern free, some PHO, some PHA. We're going to throw it all into this mixture because this is Black History Month. So we might as well get into it and talk about us as a people and how we have cultivated Freemasonry and what we have done within Freemasonry to get us to where we're at. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, don't you think so? So hold on just a second. I'm going to move my screen around here real quick. I got something I got to do real quick. And then I'm going to slide it back over. Gotta be patient and wait. There you go. So welcome everybody. So like I said, tonight we're going to be talking about Black history as far as Freemasonry is concerned, particularly the ancient, free, and accepted Masons, and about some of the accomplishments that we have had along this road in regards to our man John G. Jones and R.J. Fletcher and many others who have paved the way as far as Black, ancient, free, and accepted Masons concerned. So we're going to get right into this tonight. So definitely welcome aboard, everyone. So as you can see, the title is saying that we will never forget. And we're going to be talking about some of the things that occurred in the history of the United States that dealt with Freemasonry, Freemasons, and how Black Freemason was dealt with. The racism, the ignorance, all of that. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. So, this is just not going to be a one hit quitter, but this is really going to be about who we are as Black Masons across the board. I mean, as you know right now, some of us can't stand each other because of our jurisdictions. Let's just be honest. Some of us cannot stand each other because of the various jurisdictions for which we are part of. However, we miss out on the fellowship because of that. That's just pure ignorance from what I can gather, when you can't stand somebody like that. But, however, it is what it is. So we're gonna get right on in. Just want to send everybody a big shout out. Who's on tonight? So hit me up if you're on tonight. Just want to send you a big shout out and let you know we welcome you to be on tonight. And I think it's gonna be all right. That's my thought. I know it's gonna be all right. If I can get into my system here, I'll be even better. There you go. Looks like it's gonna be good. Let me see who's all on. Greetings, brothers. Greetings. All right, I appreciate it, Tony. I'm here listening. Not EOS or E. Okay. All right, got you. I got you. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on, and I appreciate you coming in tonight. In the process, all of us can learn something from each other. It's not that I have all the information or all the answers. I believe that the brothers who've given me calls and who have said that, hey, I have something I want to share with you that's going to be beneficiary not only to you but to me. What do you think about it? I appreciate that information, because like I said, it's not that I have all the information or anything. Greeting, Brother Bush, Raymond. All right, appreciate it. Everybody's popping on tonight. Brother Hawkins, love the show. I have been doing my due diligence about Masonry, and you have been a great example. Oh, man. Hey, bro. I really appreciate that. Much love to you and your family, and to everybody who's coming on. Definitely sending your family blessings and well-being during this month. Just waiting for a second because I'm trying to pull up some. I want to talk about Freemasonry, Black history as far as Freemasonry is concerned, because I feel that we miss out on that. I would say that this channel, I'm gonna say this channel is for the black melanated Mason and Eastern Star. Can you get with that? For the black melanated Mason and Eastern Star. This is what this channel is all about. Now I try to gear towards really giving out positive positive vibes. And sometimes things can get a little heated. Sometimes things can kind of go far left a little bit, but that's okay. It happens. And But we're about to get this work in tonight. We're about to get it in, and we're gonna have a good time at doing it. And that's really what it's all about. That's truly what it's all about. If you can't get down with that, then I don't really know what to say. Because we're about learning, we're about helping each other to do better in life, and this is where we're at. So I just want to say welcome to everybody who's coming on tonight, and we're going to get this work in. I'm not going to hold you long, but let's go with it. So you know my favorite guy. Now, all of you know my favorite guy is John G. Jones. No doubt about it across the board. That's my favorite guy, period, bar none. Okay, we're going to talk about him tonight, of course. We're going to be talking about Matthew's, I can't even think of Matthew's name. He was the founder of one of the gentlemen that carried on PHO even after many had said that PHO had died off, or the Grand Compact had died off. I can't even think of Brother Matthew's name. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. Yeah, so we're going to be getting into that tonight. So I'm going to talk about some of my heroes and some of the things that was going on with them. I'm going to even talk about Thornton A. Jackson. You know, I mean, granted, it is what it is between him and Jones at the time, but hey, you know, why not? Throw in W.E. Du Bois and throw in Frederick Douglass, you know. Throw them all in there, you know, because they played a pivot role in Black history, in American history, so we're going to throw them all in. And I just want to say I finally got done. This is my Masonic ritual that we was working on. It's done. The Masonic Black ritual is done. Okay, this right here is not necessarily that. This is the Black Ancient Free and Accepted Masons, and what we did, I had some of the brothers from the research lodge. What they did was they collected over. Let me see. I want to give you the exact number that we collected, just so you know. We collected 178 Grand Lodges. Okay, 178 Grand Lodges across the entire United States that are non-Prince Hall Grand Lodges. 178. We tried to cover all the states, and we did pretty good. We actually did pretty good. You know, you'll be surprised. Now I can't say that all of these Grand Lodges are still in existence. I can't say that. We just did the research to see who was who, what was what, and we did that. Now, we put them in a book just because they may be still in existence in some of these states. We don't necessarily know if they're still in existence, even though they may say that that in their state that they are not registered in that state. That doesn't mean anything. They can be in existence and not even have a non-profit status, and these Grand Lodges are still doing work. So we didn't base it on the fact whether they had a non-profit status, whether they was registered in the state as a business or not. What we did was we contacted quite a few different brothers from quite a few different jurisdictions. We got their information. We put it in this book right here, which is called the Black Ancient Free and Accepted Masons. And we collected 187 Grand Lodges across the United States. And we're going to talk about this tonight. As a matter of fact, we're going to get right into this right now. And then we're going to get into this here. Okay? We're going to get into this. Now, if you want this here, you're going to have to contact Brother Amos from New Jerusalem Grand Lodge. If you want this, okay? Brother Amos from New Jerusalem Grand Lodge put this together. All right? And it is deep. I mean, it is truly deep. So if you want a copy, he's the guy to contact. If you are in Chicago, Illinois, and you want this here information on John G. Jones and his and the things that he accomplished in life, you're going to have to contact Brother Amos. He's part of New Jerusalem Grand Lodge of Chicago, Illinois, and he can definitely get this to you. I don't know what he's going to charge you, but hey, it's there for you. And if you want this here, which is a copy of the Black Ancient Free and Accepted Masons across the United States, you can get a copy of this too. You can text me if you have my number. You can text me at 619-985-1184. It's the text number if you want to contact me. If you want to text me, you want a copy, I'll let you know how much it's going to cost. We just really charging for shipping and printing. We're not making any money off of this. This is not a money maker, so let's get this straight. We'll print it out for you and we'll ship it to you. That's what we do. We'll put it all together, we'll print it, and that's what we're going to charge you for, okay? Shipping and printing. This is by the John G. Jones Grand Lodge of California. We put this together, so it's up on our heading, and we'll get this to you, all right? Like I said, 187 Masonic Grand Lodges across the United States and in various states. It's amazing. And if you're doing the work, you're doing the work. So we're going to get right into it tonight. The call-in number is 619-286-0642 if you want to call in tonight. And our topic is going to be about Black history and the OES. We're going to talk about our sisters. We're going to get them involved tonight. We can't leave the sisters out. You know, big shout out to Texas, to the sisters in Texas. Big shout out to you. Appreciate you. So my first shout out tonight, as far as Grand Lodges are concerned, I'm going to get it from this book here. And so, let me see. Just a second. Okay. All right. Big shout out to Lincoln Grand Lodge, free and accepting Masons. That's out of Alabama. Lincoln Grand Lodge, free and accepted Masons out of Alabama. And the original name of that Grand Lodge is called Lincoln Grand Lodge, free and accepted Column Masons for Alabama. Sending them a big shout out. Sending the King Solomon Grand Lodge of Alabama, Arkansas, and Detroit. King Solomon Grand Lodge. Sending also the Grand Lodge of Scottish Rite, Ancient Free and Accepted Masons out of Alabama. The Most Wishful King Solomon Grand Lodge, AF and AM out of Alabama, Scottish Rite. Sending you guys a big shout out. So, you know, hey, it's just letting you know that if you're a part of this body of the Black Ancient Free and Accepted Masons, there are Grand Lodges across the United States that you might want to get in contact with and have that fellowship with, that's in your state. So, tonight's first topic of conversation is going to be Black Grand Lodges, AF and AM. Black Grand Lodges, AF and AM. Okay, so the regularity and recognitions of Grand Lodges are separate, but it's an aligned subject. Unless a Grand Lodge is regular, it cannot be recognized. Unless a Grand Lodge is recognized, its brothers cannot or should not meet in a Masonic lodge with those brothers of Freemasonry. Okay, hear me again. The regularity and recognition of Grand Lodges are separate but aligned subject. Unless a Grand Lodge is recognized, it cannot be recognized. Unless a Grand Lodge is regular, it cannot be recognized. Unless a Grand Lodge is recognized, its brothers cannot or should not meet as Freemasons with brothers who are not recognized, or with regular brothers, as they may say, who are not recognized. So in other words, if two Grand Lodges do not recognize each other, you should not participate in lodge meetings with your fellow brother Mason. Once again, you have two separate Grand Lodges. Both consider themselves to be regular, but they don't recognize each other. You cannot visit each other. You can't visit each other unless one Grand Lodge agrees and says we open like that, you know. So hear me clear once again. If two Grand Lodges do not have mutual recognition with each other, you're forbidden to visit. Plain as that. Now, here's the other side of that. If one Grand Lodge does not recognize that Grand Lodge, but the brothers of that particular lodge or Grand Lodge says, yes, if you're a Mason, you can visit here. We don't have those stipulations. You can visit, but be very careful because your Grand Lodge may suspend you because they do not recognize that Grand Lodge. It's not even complicated. The basic principles for a Grand Lodge recognition was adopted by the Lodge in 1929. So hear me clearly. The basic recognition for a Grand Lodge was adopted in 1929. This was a codification and not a statement of a new principle, summarizing the tasks which the United Grand Lodge of England had applied and would apply in recognizing any regular Grand Lodge throughout the world. 8 principles are set out in the basic book of Constitution, okay, in the Grand Lodge, okay, of Freemasonry. So there are basically 8, let me see, it says 8 principles for which the Grand Lodge of England or any other Grand Lodge, not just them, may use, and it's subjective, may use to identify you as regular or however in the mutual recognition. So let's take a look at that. First, a Grand Lodge, okay, be regular in its origin. Let's talk about that origin thing. They says must be regular in its origin. So the origin is its beginning. Its lineage is where it comes from. So origin is the beginning. Every Grand Lodge has an origin. I don't care who you are. Every Grand Lodge has a beginning. It is up to the other Grand Lodge to accept your lineage or where you come from. You know. Greetings. Oh, never mind. Illuminati Life. Brother Lewis, every copy is $20. So definitely. But yeah, so that's the way that gets down. Here's the principles. Okay, it says be regular in its origin, be truthful, independent, self-governing, adhere to the landmarks. Which landmarks? Okay. And then it says its brothers must believe in a supreme being or the grand architect of the universe. Obligation must be taken on in full view of the VSL. It must be displayed the 3 great lights of Freemasonry when lodge is open. So here's just some things you should consider in your Grand Lodge, in your lodge, okay? First, to be regular in its origin, to be truly independent and self-governing. I'm gonna say this, if your Grand Lodge, the name of your Grand Lodge, okay, if your Grand Master takes over the name of your Grand Lodge and takes over those lodges, you need not to be a part of that. Hear me clearly. If your Grand Master takes over your Grand Lodge, you need not to be a part of that because it becomes more of a dictatorship. There are Grand Lodge officers along with the Grand Master that runs the Grand Lodge. Granted, when the Grand Lodge is not in session, we all know the principal protocol is that the Grand Master is in charge, bar none. When it comes to Grand Session, the Grand Lodge is in charge. That consists of the Grand Lodge officers, okay, with the Grand Master being more of the chairman of the board, okay. The Grand Master, I know some Grand Masters run they say like they they on that serious mafia type of thing, and that's not how it should be ran. So if you find yourself in that situation, you might just want to think twice, you know. Don't keep yourself in a situation you really don't want to be in just because. I tell anybody that. I don't care what jurisdiction you're in. So let's move on. All right. It says that discussion of religion and politics in a lodge must be prohibited, and its membership must be male. Its membership must be male, okay? Now, that may change, depends on where you go in this world. Just so you know. It must have nothing to do with mixing women or lodges, all right? That is the basic principle of Freemasonry. I just gave it to you, the basic principles of Freemasonry, okay? And this wasn't all written up until 1929. Plain and simple. Call in number 619-286-0642. All right, it says regularity or origin. Okay, regularity or origin. Okay, the original Grand Lodge of England, Ireland, and Scotland were formed by private lodges, which had formed themselves into time immemorial. Look, they say private lodges, but they don't tell you where these lodges come from, you know, and then sometimes they don't give you the complete name of these lodges. They say private lodges. So then they, in turn, solidify themselves as a Grand Lodge to be the first, okay? But they don't tell you where these lodges was at, and they don't give the name of the officers in these lodges. They just said these private lodges, you know. Nobody never want to ask these questions. Okay, so who are the members of these private lodges that form themselves into this first Grand Lodge of England, Ireland, and Scotland? Because everybody often says if you're not recognized by England, Ireland, and Scotland, then you're clandestine, you're bogus, you're this and you're that. I just want you to understand, they did that. Okay, it's called monopoly. They was monopolizing Freemasonry, and this is what they done. What do officers of the lodge do? Come on now, you seriously asking me what do officers of the lodge do? What do you mean, what do they do? As far as what? What's their positions? Or you're talking about when Grand Session is in line? Because the Grand Lodge, as the officers included, that's what they do. They help run the Grand Lodge with the Grand Master. And I appreciate that, Brother Lewis. Caution. You doggone skip. I was like, what? Yeah. Brother Savage, are you a Mason? I'm asking a question. Are you a Mason? Because that was kind of like, this is hey, Brother Lewis, that's how they get caught up, right? They be asking them little simple questions like that. Okay, you're not. All right. Okay, glad you was honest with that. The Grand Lodge officers assist and aid the Grand Master in the works of the Grand Lodge. I appreciate that. So this is what they do. This is exactly what they do. So we're going to talk about regularity or origin. The original Grand Lodge of England, Ireland, and Scotland were formed by private lodges. But as I've said before, nobody never asked who were the officers of these private lodges. When were they started? But they formed themselves into a Grand Lodge, okay? And then it says in the 18th century, 3 state Grand Lodges, United States, were formed by 2 lodges. One was formed by a Grand Lodge of Convention, okay, of Masons, and the other one was following the modern rules that was stated in paragraph 4 up here, okay? A Grand Lodge must have been established by a recognized Grand Lodge, or 3 nowadays, or more regularly constituted a private lodge, framed in accordance with the rules and customs of regular Grand Lodges. Okay, every Grand Lodge that I know of consider themselves regular without having anybody's approval. Let's just be honest. Every Grand Lodge considers themselves to be a regular Grand Lodge. Whether you're a mainstream, Prince Hall, International, Modern, Free, PH, or all of them consider themselves to be a regular Grand Lodge. They do. Just because your system may differ from the other Grand Lodges, they still consider themselves a regular Grand Lodge, and they have every right to do it. It is not my business or any other Grand Lodge business to stand in the way of brothers who form themselves into a Grand Lodge. You may not like the fact that they just do it here in 2018, or they just may have done it 100 years ago, or maybe they even done it 50 years ago. That's none of my business. The fact of the matter is that these brothers who formed themselves into a Grand Lodge had every right to do it, bar none. Whether your Grand Lodge recognizes them or not, they had a right to do it. Okay? Now it says that a Grand Lodge must be established by 3 regular lodges or 3 lodges. Okay? And also it can say it can be established by a Grand Lodge. Can help establish another Grand Lodge. So that is up for debate. It's really up for debate. A Grand Lodge must have undisputed authority over the craft. If any other institution of Freemasonry is over your Grand Lodge, you're in the wrong thing. If any other institution is over your Grand Lodge, you are in the wrong thing. Plain and simple. And you should consider looking at something else. Now I'm finna contradict myself. because I may not agree with that system, it is not my business to say that system doesn't work because I don't agree with it. But the principle of Freemasonry says that there's nothing higher than your Grand Lodge. Okay, I hope I was able to clear that up a little bit. So I just want to send everybody a big shout out. Welcome for coming on tonight. Hope everybody is doing well, and I hope you're celebrating Black History. As a matter of fact, Every day is Black history in this mother sucker right here. Every day is Black history. Let me tell you about that. All right. So we're gonna move on. So it says that the principal expression overseas as exclusive territories. We're gonna take a look at this thing we call exclusive territories, but it has recently been qualified by the subject of expansion. This qualification means that the principle is not violated if a Grand Lodge agrees to share territories while the remaining authority over a brother under this jurisdiction. Meaning, this is what the Grand Lodges of State had to do. They had to go into their constitution, into their bylaws, and make some changes in regards to exclusive territories in order for them to recognize PHA as a Masonic body. It is not to say that PHA was not already a regular Masonic institution. It is clearly to say that in order for the Grand Lodges of State to recognize Prince Hall as their equal per se, that they had to make these changes in their constitution and bylaws, bar none. That's what they had to do. All right. And in most cases, there's a committee on recognition. There's a process. Some of the processes in regards to recognition are long and drawn out. Some take years, some take months. It just depends. If two Grand Lodges want to recognize each other and they know about each other, they can actually just set up a committee, and the committee can finalize and put it all together, and they can vote on it at session. It doesn't take years for it to happen, but it depends on how elaborate this is, and it can take a long time for recognition to occur. Okay. All right, so regular chartered Grand Lodges, Black, Ancient, Free, and Accepted Masons in the United States are recognized by some Grand Lodges, Congress of Councils of Grand Lodges, General Grand Masonic Congress. They are recognized. This is how the structure of Black, Ancient, Free, and Accepted Masons are set up. They're set up under a Council of Grand Lodges, General Grand Masonic Congress. These Grand Lodges come together to formulate themselves into that body. Now, your General Grand Masonic Congress or your Council of Grand Masters or whatever you want to call it is not over your Grand Lodge. It is simply a means for recognition within the construct of your entire national organization. Now, the Grand Lodges of the Grand Lodges of the United States have this thing called Grand Lodges of North America. This consists of all 50 Grand Lodges in the United States. Okay, the same thing holds for Prince Hall. Prince Hall has a thing, I think they call it the the Congress of Grand Masters, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken, but I believe that's the name. And it consists of all Prince Hall Grand Lodges of State, and they come together and they have that mutual, they come together to fellowship. That's where they decide the mutuality between the Grand Lodges to make sure that everybody's on the same page. All right. The Black Grand Lodges, Ancient, Free, and Accepted Mason has that same thing, but they call it the General Grand Masonic Congress. That is what it's called. Some have other names for it, but usually you'll hear of the General Grand Masonic Congress. All right. Now, just so you know, the information I'm getting this information out of is this book right here. And just so you know, we have on this book right here, we have listed in alphabetical order all of the Grand Lodges that we have found in the various states that are Black, Ancient, Free, and Accepted Masons. We start off with Alabama. We end with Washington. Yeah, we end with Washington. And we also have a place in here to if there are other Grand Lodges that you may know, you may be able to put and list their name and information here. So if you want a copy of this, hit me up, text me, and I get you a copy. You're going to have to pay for the printing, the shipping, and we'll just send it on out to you. All right? We have no problem with that. So our next topic is going to be about Freemasonry. And when I say just Freemasonry, I'm talking about, if any of you remember the bombing of the 4 young ladies, young girls in, I want to say in Alabama. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say Alabama. I was going to call tonight's show, but my question have nothing to do with your topic. This isn't the time. Perhaps you can set a few minutes aside a week for off-topic questions. Well, brother, if you want to post your question, or if you want to just text me, if you want to text me your question, you can. You can text me at 619-985-1184 if you want to text me your question, and I don't have to have your name. I'll go ahead and let you know. You said it was Alabama. Yes, Alabama. So now that bombing that happened in Alabama, that bombing was done by white Masons. Oh, you didn't know that? Yes, that bombing that happened in Alabama was done by white Masons. All you got to do is when you go research the bombings, they're going to tell you about the gentlemen who did it, and you can look their name up and find out that they were Masons. Yes, sir, you can definitely do that. Also, if you know about Medgar Evers, he was killed by a Mason. Yeah, Medgar Evers was killed by a Mason. Look that gentleman up. He is there too. And then, and just recently, you remember in North Carolina, not long ago, I want to say a couple of years ago, when that gentleman drove that truck. It was a Mustang, and it was a pickup truck that was driven into the crowd there in North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. That was done by Masons. And ask me how I know, and I'll tell you so. If you look at the back bumper of that 16th Street Baptist Church bombing, yes, absolutely. All right. So if you look at the bumper sticker on that truck, it's a Shriner bumper sticker. If you look on the bumper sticker on that Mustang that ran into them people, that was a Masonic emblem on the back of that car. Talk to me. Talk to me. You can go look. You can look this up for yourself. You ain't even gotta say that I'm lying. Just go look it up for yourself. All right. I'm just telling you that some things that have happened to us as a people was done by white Masons. And I know some people keep saying, "Why are you bringing up race? Why you?" It's not that I keep bringing it up. It's the mere fact that this is what happened. This is a fact. And if you can't face it, that's on you. These are some things that have happened to us as a people, and it was done by Masons. Okay? So let's keep that rolling. So now that we have the North Carolina issue, which was just a few years back, then you have the bombing in Alabama. You have Medgar Evers, who was shot by a Mason. Shucks. I lost my train of thought. There was a couple of more incidents that's dealing with us as black people that had things to do with Masons. And let's not forget Rosewood. You know, that was just sad. But I'm just saying, when you look at history and how we as black Masons have been treated and how we're treating ourselves today, speaks volumes. If you look at history and you look at how we as black Masons are treating each other today, speaks volume. Now, I don't care what you say and how you like it. I'm just giving you the facts. Okay? And you can't dispute facts. This is something, I mean, not just my facts, but these are just things that are written in history where everybody can see. And it's recent. And this is not like long ancient stuff. You can't say that you weren't, well, if you weren't born around that time, you know, in the 60s. But this is just what it is. It was, I mean, and it bothers me and hurts me because it was done by Masons. But I got to look at the times, you know. I got to look at the times. I'm missing something. Much love and respect to my two solid Masonic brothers. All right, for real, Brother Shahid. Welcome aboard. I appreciate you. Greetings, everybody who's coming on tonight. I'm going to be sending some shout outs to some lodges that you probably never heard of tonight. So don't feel bad. If I don't call your Grand Lodge out, that's okay. If I don't call, you know, it's quite all right. So I want to send out a big shout out, another shout out to Enoch Grand Lodge, Ancient Free and Accepted Masons here in California, Enoch Grand Lodge. St. Matthew's Grand Lodge, True Light Grand Lodge, Mount Logan Grand Lodge, most wish for Mount Nemo Grand Lodge. Whoa. So those are just a few Grand Lodges in California I want to send a big shout out to. So we're gonna get right on. We're gonna continue tonight. So if you got any questions, if you wanna give me a call tonight, 619-286-0642. Come on, don't be shy. Greetings everybody who's coming on. I appreciate you. We're just talking about Black history, some of the things that we can definitely contribute, and some of the ones who have forged the way, and as far as Black Masonry is concerned. And you know my love for John G. Jones. I'm just gonna give it to you. He has been a big influence on me as far as Freemasonry is concerned. The more I've done my own research on him, and I find out the things that he's done in history is beautiful. Executive Lodge 69, Los Angeles. What's up, Big T? Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. I'm gonna say this here. Somebody name me the first Black president. No, the first Black person of color to run for president of the United States. Can somebody shoot me that real quick? I know there's some very educated people out there, individuals out there who may know that. Can somebody tell me the first person that was Black, that ran for president of the United States in the party he ran under? All right, I certainly would appreciate that. So in Black history, I'm going to share this with you. John G. Jones was selected in between 1900 and 1902 to the House of Illinois, to the Illinois House. Okay, he served from 1900 to 1902. Okay, also let me see what else. His plan, the people acquainting himself with very important. Okay, so just so you know, that was in 1900 and 1902. All right. Okay, the first 10 Black Illinois lawyers, who was elected to the chambers, okay? And John G. Jones was a Republican, and that was in 1900 that he was elected, along with 9 others, including Robert Jackson, Alexander Lane, Edward Green, Walton Martin, John Buccaneer, James Bush, Edward Morris, George Ekund, and John W. Thompson. They was all elected to the first year elected to chambers out of Illinois. This source is from the February 2006, volume 19, published number 3. This is by the Illinois General Assembly legislative reference. Okay, so get that. You can easily get that. All right, you can easily get that. Now I'm gonna close this up real quick. Boom. All right. Oh, really? John Hanson has been debunked. Okay, enlighten me. Brother Raymond, enlighten me on that. You can call in and enlighten me on that one. Raymond Owens, welcome aboard. Most wishful sons of light. Grand Lodge, California, sending Grandmaster Omar Scarf shout out. Oh yeah, okay. I see what you think. John, a Republican, I think John. No, it wasn't John. Nope. Can somebody else tell me the first person, Black, that ran for president of the United States? All right. As a matter of fact, yeah. Can somebody, first president of the United States. Can somebody help me out? All right, let me give you some more history on John G. Jones, okay? It says that John G. Jones, a prominent lawyer, businessman, publisher, in 1864, a pamphlet, The Black Lawyers of Illinois, and a few reasons why we should be repealed. The booklet was a panel for full citizenship rights for Negroes and urging repeal of the black laws. John G. Jones made speeches, written articles, circulated his pamphlet, and led to organizing the Negroes and white groups throughout the states. In January 1865, the black laws were repealed. The Illinois legislators went on to endorse the 13th and 14th and 15th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Illinois was the first state to ratify the 13th Amendment. One day after Congress voted to submit the resolution to the legislation of state. In 1884, John G. Jones was the 8th black lawyer admitted to the Illinois bar. Jones had previously served as a United States commissioner to Cuba in 1870 to investigate complaints of colored people captured in the United States and sold into slavery in Cuba. Jones formed a partnership with Fernando Bertino. Jones was an outspoken advocate for black rights and earned a nickname, Instigator. John G. Jones opposed any movement that called for race separation. In 1885, the colored man professional and business director of Chicago listed Jones. Number 9, black lawyers was engaged in the activity and practice of laws in Chicago. Edward H. Moore, well, I just named those off. So this just shows you how deep this man was into the laws, his fight for black peoples in Chicago. All right. Oh, there's a lot. So let me get right on in here. So we just got to look at it for what it is. We're celebrating Black history. In all of the Masons, be it in your jurisdiction of those who help you to become a member of the Order of the Eastern Star, or any of them. I mean, there are some sisters that we should be celebrating also. Not just the brothers, but some sisters who are Eastern Stars we should be celebrating. If you know of Eastern Stars in your area who have done some excellent work in your community, they should be celebrated. It's too often we forget about the sisters. So let's not forget about the sisters and understand that they definitely took a place and had our back. I'm a woman, but not a member of the OES yet. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, sister. Text me your question, 619-985-1184. You can text me your question and we'll make sure that we get your answer to you tonight. All right. If you want to hit me up, you're certainly welcome to do so. The lines are open at 619-286-0642. We're going to get right on back in it. We're going to continue to show tonight. So, I don't want nobody getting in no trouble calling me either. You know what I mean? So let's move on. Boom, boom. I'm missing something here. Everything that I'm looking up is not coming on. Everything I'm looking up, I'm pulling up things that's not necessarily coming up on one part of what I'm trying to see. All right. Okay, so he says John G. Jones. John G. Jones ran for vice president of the United States. He's the first black man to run for vice president of the United States. Yes, he is. And you're going to probably ask me, where did I get that from? Okay, it was in 1904. If you go to the year 1904 and look up presidential candidates, you will see John G. Jones' name as running for vice president of the United States. And along with E.P. Penn. E.P. Penn was a black man, businessman. Him and John G. Jones ran for the president and vice president of the United States in 1904. And you can look this up for yourself. And it was part of the Lincoln Party. Okay? The Lincoln Party was founded by African Americans of Republicans. All right? And this was in 1904. And you can look this up in Lincoln Legacy, and you can find it. All right? That's my resource. Oh, I'm almost to drop it. If you can see it right here. Okay? So it's not like I'm giving you something where you can't go research it or find it for yourselves. All right? So that was the Lincoln Party. So if you know anything about the Lincoln Party, John G. Jones and E.P. Penn was the first dual African Americans to run for president of the United States. All right? You can look this up. Just let me see if you can see that. So check it out. All right? Hello, how can I help you?
It's Freemasonry a lot, buddy. What's up?
Hey, nothing much, brother. Welcome aboard. I appreciate everything. How you holding it tonight?
I'm good, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. Just welcome to the show for melanated people.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I already know, bro.
Yeah, this show here for melanated people. What I'm trying to do tonight, Freemasonry Unlocked, is just let everybody know that in the history of Black Masonry, that we've
Okay.
done some extraordinary things, but also white Masons, on the same token, has hindered us from growing.
Right.
I mean, people often ask me, well, why you want to always talk about race? Because race is an issue. Even
Right.
now in Freemasonry, even though we talk about how great the fraternal order is, it's still an issue. Until we're able to talk about the issue and have a frank conversation about it, it's going to be where it's at. And a lot of people are afraid to talk about it. They just are,
Right.
you know. So that's what we're talking about tonight. And we also, I got this book, and I know you're going to probably want a copy of the various ancient, free, and accepted Grand Lodges across the United States. And brother, I came across 180 total across the
Right.
United States. And, like I often say, it's up to each Grand Lodge to accept another Grand Lodge, whether they want to hold recognition with them or not. So, it's an interesting book. It took some time to put it together, but I want to appreciate the brothers who are part of Research Lodge number 147 for going out and bringing that information back and saying, hey,
Right.
this is what we found. So I
Yeah.
think,
I was gonna, I was gonna say that I'm not 100% sure, but it's stated as far as the official record, quote unquote, that Frederick Douglass in 1848 was the first black man to ever become nominated for the presidency of the United States of America.
really, hey, where'd you find it at and how can we get it?
On Google, I Googled it, and as far as the first black man to be nominated,
Mm-hmm.
it says that it was him, and as far as the first black woman, it says that it was Shirley Chisholm,
Yeah.
which I'm pretty sure everybody knows about. That was later on, though.
Right, that was like in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken, for
A
her.
little earlier, but yeah, in the 1900s, like, in the mid 1900s.
Okay, definitely.
But as far as the first black man, I'm not saying it's right.
No. If you Google it, I mean, Google it is like the source of one. It's the source of information these days. So if you Google it and it came up, and plus I have some. I'm kind of old school too, so I can also look in encyclopedias that I have, and definitely see what the encyclopedia has on it. Now,
Yeah, it's
some.
1848 though. Frederick Douglass
Okay.
is supposed to have been the first black man to have become nominated.
Okay. Do you know what party it was under? More than likely, it was probably under the Republican
I would
Party.
presume Republican because I'm not saying it was Republican, but being that the Republican Party was the party that was really like anti-slavery in that day and age, and being that he was what was he? He was an advisor to Lincoln.
Yes, Frederick Douglass. Yes.
Was a Republican, so I'm presuming that. You know what I mean? The Democrats were pro-slavery originally, and later on they became, what we know them to be now. But
Right. Yeah. So I'm going to send a big shout out to I don't know how many of you ever heard of G.C. Williams. G.C. Williams. That brother was from Louisiana, and he was the past president of the General Grand Masonic Congress. Also, C.L. Mitchell. I'm quite sure a lot of us have heard of C.L. Mitchell. H.T. Broadus is another individual. Look them up, man. These are some black historical Masons that really done a lot in Freemasons. You can agree to disagree with some of the things that they did, but bruh, they was on point. H.T. Broadus is another one. That was out there doing a lot of different work. Okay, who else? Name some on your side there, bruh.
as far as what
As far as Masons are concerned, that is really that's really been doing that has really done, and you may know some Masons now that are doing some outstanding works.
Or as far as the Black Masonic community, Freemasons that are doing work,
Including your community too.
I would say you, brother. I wouldn't say per se.
No, I'm saying your community too now. Come on, talk back to me.
I would say in my community, bro, like, I'm in New York City, and the Black Ancient Free and Accepted Masons are low key, bro, as far as the mainstream, which is Prince Hall affiliation. You know, the building is worn down, bro. Like, I'm out here, bro.
Oh, okay.
The building is worn down. They're trying to, like, their Grand Master is easy to find out who he is. You just have to look it up.
Okay.
But they're not in the, like, they're not in the community. You have specific brothers that may be in the community trying to do something. You know, as far as like PHA, but as far as Black Ancient Free and Accepted Masons, I would say everybody kind of does something for the community. You know, they do monthly drives and stuff to try to help the community, but I wouldn't say there's anybody notable.
Okay.
You know,
okay. So the year for Sister Shirley Chisholm, was 1972.
Right.
Yeah, that was 1972. Frederick Douglass, Republican National Convention for Frederick Douglass. So he was the first.
Right. According to Google, you know, we have to do thorough research. I just mentioned it because I looked it up, and he pops up as the first man, you know, Black man, to run to be nominated for the presidency of the United States.
Right. And also, somebody just posted Thurgood Marshall, historically known as a great Mason. Yeah, he is. You can't forget Thurgood Marshall. Now, everybody don't necessarily... Go ahead.
He would be later on, you know?
Oh, yeah, he definitely would, but...
Douglas.
Yeah. I'm listening. Go ahead.
I would recommend his book, man. Brother should read that, bro. His first autobiography.
Which one is that?
The autobiography of Frederick Douglass. That's the name of it. The first one. He did about 2 or 3, but... His
first one?
Yeah, that's fire, man.
Oh, okay.
That's where he talks about, like, how he escaped, but he says that... And I've never read the second autobiography he wrote, but the first one I did read, and he says how he will not reveal how he escaped. You know, he states in there, like, I won't tell you how I escaped because it will put certain people in danger.
Right.
But it's fire, though. That book is fire.
And look, let me say this here. I'm not a person that will not give other races their due, because black people, we didn't set ourselves free. We didn't escape to freedom just by ourselves. There were some other individuals of white persuasion that assisted and aided us in getting free. I'm not blind from that. I'm just saying this month and any other month in regards to history in the United States, that we should look at who we are in the United States as far as Black Masons are concerned across the board. We really should put that in some perspective, you know, because if we did, a lot of us wouldn't be going back and forth over small stuff. If we did, we can be so much further along as far as when we talk about doing community service. Just like you just got through saying that, hey, you know what, they're pretty low key here, you know, that sort of thing. There may be individuals who may do a lot of work, but when you look at the big picture, it should be bigger than just a few individuals. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so this is where we at, and you know, I don't know. I don't have the answer, you know, but I'm.
No, I know what you mean. I think that with the Anglo-Saxon tradition of Freemasonry, which is like the United Grand Lodge of England, being that it bans political activity, amongst Freemasons, I would say that you will always see less political activity. But
look, we can say what we want to say, but we know that they're involved in in politics. Come on.
yeah, no doubt. I'm just saying, as far as like in the urban community now, as far as like continental Freemasonry, like I was saying recently with France.
Oh, they deep into it.
Yeah, but as far as like the Grand Orient of France and France, they're heavily involved in politics. You will actually see Freemasons showing up to political events, you know, because they allow political discussion in the lodge.
Okay.
Now, it has to be non-partisan politics, but they have political discussions in the lodge.
Right.
This is why you'll see, like, if you study Freemasonry, like most of the anti-Masons who say that Freemasonry, you know, runs the world and stuff like that. A lot of times they're referring to, the Grand Orient of France, because the Grand Orient of France is heavily involved in politics. Like, it's deep, but you won't see that in America, not nowadays. Like, you won't see Freemasons who are politicians, you know, coming out wearing aprons and stuff like that, giving speeches.
No, they don't. Not like they used to. Not at all.
Right. But in France, you're going to see that heavily. So, you know, it's, that's a part of it. You know, and also, you know, the educational curriculum of your lodge. So with Continental Masonry, which is not just the Grand Orient of France, but all of the Grand Lodges that are in amity with the Grand Orient of France, the educational curriculum of those lodges are very different from what you would see in the United Grand Lodge of England and the state Grand Lodges that are mainstream. It's like with the brother, what's his name? Your comrade, the brother,
Jackson?
What's his name? No, the brother that's the past Grand Master of the Hispanic Grand Lodge.
Oh, Dave Munoz.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That he falls under Continental Masonry. So you'll see that the educational curriculum is very different.
It is.
It's different. There's a curriculum in place. And with the Anglo-Saxon tradition of Masonry, which would be the state Grand Lodges and also, of course, Prince Hall Masonry, there is no educational curriculum. Any brother that calls in, any brother that calls in can tell you that. Like, look at, all you have to
Wait a minute.
The bylaws.
Wait a minute.
And see.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Look, you kind of threw a curve at me. Wait a minute. You're telling me, now I'm not a Prince Hall Mason, that there's no education curriculum for brothers who are PHA.
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this here.
80% of the cases, no, there's not.
Okay, so
and any brother that's PHA would tell you that, that's on the line now. Just ask them, like, listen, send me the agenda, like the monthly lodge agenda. Show me what the agenda consists of, and and I have copies of it, so I can definitely send it to you. As far as in New York,
okay,
like, let's see what the monthly agenda consists of, and it's going to consist of a few things as far as PHA, right? In 80% of the cases, and that's going to be opening the lodge, closing the lodge, the reading of the minutes, right?
The basic construct. Is that what you're saying?
Right. The opening, closing, the reading of the minutes, the balloting for new petitioners to become candidates, and that's pretty much it. You're not going to see anything dealing with educational curriculum. Nothing.
Wow.
Because they don't have it.
But it doesn't make sense. Well, what about your inner apprentices who's coming in?
No, they don't. That's just catechism, like, making sure that the apprentices are proficient in the catechism.
Well, because I can only speak for this jurisdiction, I would tell you
Right.
that you have to take a test at the end. This is something we came up with about maybe a year and a half ago. And this was done by Worshipful Master Eric Sutton. He was Worshipful Master at the time. He's past Master Sutton now. He said that
Right.
we should bring in testing for
Right.
our members, and that's something that we've incorporated. So now,
Right.
if you are inner apprentice, at the end, not only do you do your proficiency, you also take a test,
Right.
and that goes all the way up to a Master Mason.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. But as far as PHA, brothers will tell you that a PHA that are on the forum, all you have to, the active ones, not the ones that are inactive, but the ones that are active.
Mm-hmm.
It's there. I have copies of it. I actually have the documentation.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have an educational curriculum in operation.
Okay.
They do have testing the candidates for proficiency in the catechism.
Uh-huh.
But that doesn't mean anything. That's just, okay, did you learn a few questions and answers?
Well, Brother Jonathan G just stated that they have a they have a class in PHA. I don't know what type of class it is,
Where,
but he says they have a class.
Where, though? Like, what class? Where? What type of class? What class?
Yeah.
Because I know the brother, and he knows they don't have any type of educational curriculum there at all. They ask you certain questions as far as the catechism, such as, where were you made a Mason? Where were you first prepared to be made a Mason?
Oh, okay. All that, okay.
What
You need not to go any farther. We know where you're going.
Yeah, what is a token?
Yeah.
That's it. And you have to ask them also, how many active members do you have in your lodge?
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I can guarantee you it's going to be, at best, 12 guys.
Okay.
I bet you that.
Well, that even goes to say the same thing for Maine. That's happening across the board, brother, because a lot of people are losing interest, that interest in Masonry, and they're also losing interest in the Order of the Eastern Star. I can't leave my sisters out, because what happens is you have people who come all charged up to do the work, and then they get cut down or they get slapped in the face by those members who've been there for eons. But you, that young cocky person that's coming in, and now you want to do the shit. Excuse my language. You want to do the work, but they get in your way. They block you from doing the work that they could have done but didn't do, and so they leave.
This is why I stated that there's two general strands of Freemasonry in the world: Anglo-Saxon and Continental Freemasonry. And Anglo-Saxon Freemasonry encompasses, part of what it encompasses is Prince Hall Masonry, meaning PHA. I'm not referring to PHO, but PHA. So it's a dogmatic type of Freemason. All you have to do is Google it. Just look it up. Put it in Google. Go to google.com and put in Continental Freemason.
Right.
And click on it, and everything's gonna pop up.
Okay.
All of the different Grand Lodges that are Continental Masons, and all of the Grand Lodges that are mainstream Masons, like the United Grand Lodge of England, etc. And some of the Continental Grand Lodges are John G. Jones. So all you have to do is just Google it. You'll see the difference. It'll clearly state it. Like Continental Freemasonry, our educational curriculum is far superior to Anglo-Saxon Masonry. We have a curriculum. Right. This is just the fact.
Okay.
So with Anglo-Saxon Masonry, which is the United Grand Lodge of England, everybody that's a part of it knows Like when you came into the lodge, did you have to study logic? You know, like the study of logic. Did you have to study? Did you have to actually study astronomy? You have to actually study geometry. Did you actually have to study rhetoric?
Okay.
You know, did you actually have to study these things? Did you actually have to present papers?
You sound like my past master Eric Sutton. He was real dogmatic about that. I was like, he damn near gave me a headache on that.
Yeah, he's a real Mason, bro.
He was like,
actually have to present these papers to the lodge.
He's like, we gotta study this. Go ahead, bro. My fault. Go ahead.
Right. If you know that you didn't have to present these papers, then how did you acquire suitable proficiency? All of our rituals tell you, like the fellow crab ritual tells you, that the candidate attained suitable proficiency in the preceding degree.
Right, exactly.
You went through this ritual. Did you actually attain suitable proficiency, or did you not?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
So, right. So, you know, that's what it is, man. As far as like the modern day Freemasonry. But you know, these are the things to look into, man.
So tell me this here. What's your ancestry background?
As far as like me as an individual?
You as an individual.
Oh, Puerto Rican.
So being Puerto Rican,
right.
You know, and being a Freemason, how does that play for you?
I mean, it doesn't really, it doesn't conflict. I run into, in everyday life, I run into different Freemasons. Like, let's say I run into the majority of the black community of Freemasons, right? The majority that I run into, of course, are either Prince Hall or John G. Jones. Okay. Right? So, in New York City, in the streets, I'm not saying as far as you going to temples, but like, let's just say you're walking around in the streets, or you're in a shopping mall, or, you know, you're going about your everyday life. Right. So I'll get approached by individuals a lot because I wear a ring or I wear a pin. Okay. Right? So I represent Masonry. So usually if it's an African American brother that's approaching me, he'll ask, in a majority of instances, are you a 3-letter Mason or a 4-letter Mason? So I'm a 4-letter Mason because that's what I come from. Okay. So I say I'm a 4-letter Mason. Now, 3-letter Mason is a Prince Hall Mason. Okay. So, you know, we'll go through if it's a 4-letter Mason, we'll go through the Q&A. You know, we'll go through the catechism. Okay. Usually if it's a 3-letter Mason, it's PHA, Prince Hall. They'll just be like, okay, we won't really go through Masonic catechism. Right. You know, it'll just be like, okay, yeah, I'm so-and-so lodge. I'm under the most worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of New York. Okay, cool, brother. I'm not taking the high degrees because it's like a school. I'm not doing that. Okay. Whatever. So, now with the Latin brothers, usually, they'll be Continental Masons. Okay. Which is, you know, some type of Grand Lodge that's in affiliation with the Grand Orient of France. And that's what it is. Now with the mainstream, because I go to the mainstream Grand Lodge of New York, which is on 23rd Street and 6th Avenue. I'll go there every 1 or 2 months during the year. Just to attend different functions. Right. And it's, you know, the mainstream Masons there, they don't act crazy. They just salute you. Okay, yeah, how you doing, brother? you're wearing your ring or you're wearing your pin.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care. They don't. You'll see them up and down the street.
Okay.
By the Grand Lodge building. They
Mm-hmm.
don't get crazy or nothing like that. And then you'll see certain black brothers that are affiliated with the state Grand Lodge as well as the headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
And those brothers will extend the hand to you like, oh, how you doing, brother? Like, peace, you good, man? You all right?
Mm-hmm.
That's it, bro.
Okay.
Because they're in the building. They're holding meetings and stuff like that. But if they see you in the building, they don't get crazy with you or nothing like that.
Okay.
So I would say that for the most part in the streets, it's different because of how you carry yourself.
Right.
Like let's say you did have a PhD. Let's say you had a Prince or Mason that was, PHA. And he was to acknowledge, he saw you had a ring or you had your pin on, and he was to question you or something like this. The most he would probably do is say, do you have your traveling card or something like this? Mine for yours. And let's say you produce your traveling card and it wasn't mainstream or PHA, your card. Right?
Right.
Then maybe he will question you about it. But if you was docile in your disposition, he's going to try to get you to switch over.
Right.
Like, yo, this is clandestine. It's never happened to me because I don't jack that type of mentality. So they're like, oh yeah, okay, brother.
So
that's it.
So what lodge? I know
Right.
Jesse Jackson is a Mason. Do you think
Uh-huh.
he was made a Mason on site, or was he initiated?
Who's that?
Jesse Jackson.
Oh, nah, he was PHA, Harmony Lodge number 8, if I'm not mistaken, in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Prince Hall affiliation.
So, like I said, though, I'm wondering, was he initiated or was he made a Mason on site?
Well, I don't know, but I'm presuming, all right, like, let's talk about that being made a Mason on site. The mainstream's position about that is that there's no such thing as the Grand Master actually saying, okay, you're a Mason and I'm making you that. You are.
Right.
According to the mainstream, their position is that the Grand Master can, overlook certain protocols of the investigative committee.
Right.
But you still have to go through the initiation ritual. So I know what you're talking about, though, because you hear about the term.
Right.
But again, remember, like you said, bro, it depends on your jurisdiction, man. It depends on.
It does.
Depends on your jurisdiction.
It does.
That's what it depends on. That's like if you take mainstream Masonry in Rhode Island in New York, right? And the State Grand Lodge of Rhode Island and the East Coast, the United States of America, they're pretty sharp, bro. Like, their lodges are pretty sharp as far as the esoteric teachings of Masonry.
Really?
Yeah, because it depends. Every Grand Lodge is sovereign.
Yeah, that's true.
So it depends. It's like with Colorado. Colorado, the State Grand Lodge mainstream is ancient, free, and accepted Mason. They have one traditional observance lodge, which is a lodge that actually makes you go through the degree work.
Oh, okay.
And that lodge is Enlightenment Lodge number 100 and I think 98 or something like this. And you have to pay $1 a day to be a Mason in that lodge.
Wow.
Yeah. So your dues are $365 a year.
Wow. That's interesting.
A brother that's a prominent member of that lodge is, what's his name? He's a cop too. He's a homicide detective actually. What's his name? What's the brother's name, man? He wrote the book, The psychology of Freemasonry, Cliff Porter, that's his name.
Okay.
He's sharp, bro. He's for real with Masonry. So when he started his lodge in Colorado, he had backlash from certain past masters and mainstream Masonry in Colorado. But he still did what he did anyway. Of course, he got a charter from the Grand Lodge of Colorado.
Oh, really?
But yeah. So his lodge is Enlightenment Lodge number 198 or whatever, something to that effect. But the name is Enlightenment Lodge. So that lodge, they have higher dues than any other lodge in Colorado, mainstream.
Well, I know that there's a lodge called High End Lodge out of New York. And it's high end, brother.
Right.
You know.
Possibly. Like, I have the book, though. I have the book in my closet, though. I don't have it on me right now.
Hey, you can check the book out in your closet, but it's called High End Lodge. Because it's high end.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, go ahead.
But with the traditional observance lodges, a term that's peculiar to mainstream Masonry. I know that in New Jersey they have one. Colorado has one. I don't think there are any in New York. There may be, though. I'll have to look it up.
Okay.
You're talking about high-end lodge, so it's a possibility. But the traditional observance lodges, they basically what they are continental Masonic lodges that work under mainstream Masonry.
So tell me this here. Did you know that Josephine Baker was a Mason?
Absolutely. Yeah, she was part of the feminine Grand Lodge.
Yes. Did you send me, were you the one that sent me that information?
I think probably another brother did, but I'm familiar with it.
Now, that was shocking to find out. Yeah. For those of you who don't know and didn't know, Josephine Baker, I'm quite sure some of you are familiar with it, was definitely a Mason. And the information I have on her is that, it says the iconic dancer joined the lodge, La Novus Jerusalem, New Jerusalem, of the Grand Lodge of Feminine de France, Grand Lodge, Feminine Grand Lodge of France in 1960. Although the status of the England Grand Lodge defined Freemasonry as a male-only society, the woman had access to the Adoption Lodge in France. There are now 27 purely women lodges in Germany. Woo!
Right.
That's deep.
Yeah, and remember too, like even with the Order of the Eastern Star, its origin, not its direct origin, but its origin lies in France. And you have to look at a country, man, like the collective spirit of a country. France is a philosophical country.
Okay.
You know, if you go to France today, or if you look at French history from the 1800s until now, the French are different. The French are more, into free thinking and philosophy. So
you're saying they the real essence of what you would call Freemasonry if you're talking about free thinkers?
I believe so, personally, because I deal with French Masons, and I believe so heavily, man, that when you deal with Masonry in America, the social club style lodges are plagued with racism, bro. They're plagued with a dogmatic type of thinking. You know, they're plagued with a dogmatic style of thinking, man. They're not. That's why I said this. Every lodge, every Grand Lodge,
right?
Just study every Grand Lodge in America, right? As from a research perspective, study that Grand Lodge and see what the educational curriculum is like for that Grand Lodge. Okay. What do you have in line for education? Now, when you're dealing with France, in general, even the ritual, like when you tell brothers on the channel that when you travel to different countries, you'll see that Freemasonry, it's not that it's different. The landmarks are pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll experience different things sitting in a lodge of Freemasons in France and Freemasons in other countries.
Now, I'm going to say this here. My brother-in-law is a Freemason from France.
Right.
And they have, all of their members carry swords when they're in lodge setting.
Absolutely, yeah.
I was like...
Even
I had a chance to visit.
Like
I was in
Continental Mason.
Like
in my lodge, every member has a sword.
Really?
As long as your fellow craft and higher, but yeah, the sword is like every Mason carries it, at least in my lodge. Your fellow craft and higher, you have a sword, you have gloves, and you have your apron.
Right. And that's the thing. I remember when I was in Boston, and this is where his lodge was at. Was in Boston. It was a French lodge. And he was like, I'm ready to go to the lodge meeting. I said, what? Lodge meeting? And so we spoke. Okay, cool. Very similar in wordings and the signs, all of that, right?
Right.
So I was like, what are all these swords for? These swords? He was like, yeah, this is, everybody has one. I was like, everybody has one?
Yeah.
Everybody has one. I was like, wow.
Yeah, right. And the ritual, as far as like, Grand Army and Masonry, which is big in America, not just in other countries, it exists out here too, and in this country. The ritual is similar, to the Anglo-Saxon type of Masonry, but certain things in the ritual is a little different. Like you ever see when people publish, shows or books or movies about Freemasonry, and they show guys like drinking out of a cup or drinking out of a skull and stuff like that. That's what you'll see in the Grand Army in France, even in their lodges out here. Like the EA ritual, the Enter the Apprentice ritual, is very similar, but you don't have in most of the lodges, not all of the lodges, because the Grand Army in France. All right, like I'll just give you a clear example. Let's say that.
Hold on, time out. This gentleman by the name of the Kun, or whatever authority, talking about stop with the and the ha, it's irritating. Well, move off the show then. It's to me because it's interesting. Shit. Now go ahead.
Now let's just say, for example, let's say hypothetically speaking, you wanted to bring the most worshipful John D. Jones Grand Lodge of California under some Grand Orient Masonic Grand Lodge, right? Let's say you wanted to do that, right?
Oh, tell me, he said it sounds like I'm bored. I'm not bored. I'm listening to what Freemasonry Unlocked is saying to me, because some of this information I don't know, bruh. So when I'm like, and I'm like, it's interesting to me because I don't know the information he's sharing, and he's sharing it with everybody. So let's not, that's just me. If you was on here, I'd be on and on too. So I tell you what, Mr. Authority, why don't you call in tonight and enlighten me on some things, because I don't know everything.
Right.
So hit me up.
All right, so let's say that you wanted to bring your obedience under one of their Grand Orients, right?
Right.
What they would do is they would allow you to continue to work the way you work. As far as Enter the Apprentice, Fellow Craft, Master Masons. They would allow you to continue to run your rituals the way you run it. Right? Now, if you decided that you wanted to work, let's just say the primitive rite, or you wanted to work the York rite, or you wanted to work the Scottish rite, they give you that option for your obedience.
Right.
So that's how the Grand Orient of France works. They allow you to do whatever you want to do for your obedience.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. So with Grand Orient Masonry, you may visit a lodge, right? Let's say you visit a lodge in New York. We have Atlantis Lodge. That's the lodge that the Grand Orient of France has in New York. I believe in California they have a lodge too. But every wants to work.
Okay.
So if you go to the entered apprentice, let's say you sit in a lodge of entered apprentices. If the lodge that you're going to works the Memphis rite, Memphis Mizram, you're going to see the ritual of Memphis Mizram for the entered apprentice degree. It's not going to be the same as...
Wait a minute, back up. I'm going to see which ritual?
Like, let's say you visited a lodge of the Grand Orient of France. Right? And that lodge, that particular lodge, working the rite of Memphis Mizram. When you sit in that lodge, on the EA degree or the Fellow Craft degree or the Master Mason degree, the ritual is going to be the ritual of Memphis Mizram. It's not going to be the ritual that you're normally used to, or that I'm used to, right?
Go ahead.
Now let's say you go to a Grand Orient of France lodge that works the Scottish rite, right? Let's say you go to that lodge and they're working the first degree of Freemasonry. The ritual of the first degree of Freemasonry is not going to be what we're used to over here. It's going to be the first degree of the Scottish rite, the ritual, which is different.
It is very different because when you mention the primitive rites being shown as far as their inner apprentice is concerned, that in itself did throw me off.
It's very similar, but it's not exactly the same as the point I'm making. So you'll see that there's not, for example, like with the primitive rite of Memphis Mizram, in the first degree, you're not going to see the reading of Psalms 133. You're not going to see that. And the second degree, you're not going to see Amos 7:7. You're not going to see that.
Okay.
You're going to see similar things. You know, you're going to see similar aspects, but it's different. Even with the circumambulation, where like the Scottish Rite first degree, circumambulation is different. Like some of the things that you'll see in the Scottish Rite, the first degree, is kind of what you would consider hazing. Not really hazing, but you'll have to step on certain objects while you're circumambulating. You know, like certain objects to be placed in your way to step on.
Right.
You know, and you'll be like, what the hell is this? Like, we don't do this in America for the most part. But it's a lot different, man. It's a lot different. So, and even with the United Grand Lodge of England, for the brothers that went to England, I know some brothers have visited England, like physically going out there. Go to any of their lodges, the United Grand Lodge of England, the ritual is not the same. Like with the Master Mason's degree, the tool of a Master Mason is not the trowel in the United Grand Lodge of England.
Hold on just a second. I'm going to say this in regards to Brother Authority. It is not that I can be easily thrown off. I'm just responding to your post, okay? It's not that it threw me off. And also, I appreciate you. And by the way, to the brother out of New York, I think he says Bagoy or something like that. Badgoy. He got an NY in front of his name.
Bagoy. Masons are shit. No, that's like a troll, man. That's like goy, right?
Yeah, somebody said that he was a Mason, though.
Goy is a Jewish term that means a Gentile.
Oh, okay.
Like a goy. So he's saying NY bad goy.
Oh, okay.
Masons are Chabot's goys.
Yeah.
They're just trolling, bro.
Yeah.
You got Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
Says we will never forget Farrakhan naming the synagogue of Satan. Got you where he's saying that, you know, Farrakhan says that. The Jews and all right, whatever. Alright, so you can skip that, dude. Let me see what else.
Oh man, as a Farrakhan secret relationship,
brother.
Yes, you know what? Let me say this here. I'm cracking up on it now. Yeah, I'm a Farrakhan type of guy. I do, and I am
Right.
certainly. For those of you who don't know, I've already said that loud and clear. So your comments in regards to the Jews elite and slavery and the black people, look, that can be for another form. All right. And
Yeah.
but it can be incorporated here. I mean, I'm not going to shy away from it because we know that there are Jews who were Masons. They
Right.
are, and we know that during the time when they was in the prison camps, in during the time of the war, I think I want to say World War II, when they was in the prison camps, that they
Right.
used masonry. They used it to escape because there were some Germans who was also Masons, and we know that Hitler tried to kill them all. So it had to go underground. So if
Right.
you know anything about the history of Masonry dealing during the World War II, you know that they played a vital part, be it from the United States or any other country that was involved with that war at the time.
Right.
Okay? So just be
Yeah.
careful of your posting tonight, gentlemen. Thank you.
Yeah. You're gonna have certain shows, but as going back to what I was saying as far as Masonry internationally, with the Grand Orient of France
Uh-huh.
and other jurisdictions that are part of the Grand Orient of France. Typically, every lodge is allowed to work whatever rite it wants to work.
Uh-huh.
So some lodges work the Memphis Mizram rite. Certain lodges work. It's not like with mainstream Masonry in America, where what you would typically work is the York rite of Thomas Smith Webb in America, and then once you get to the third degree, you can petition to go into the Scottish rite or the York rite per se, or the other appendant body.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the Grand Orient of France is concerned, they allow every lodge to work whatever rite they want to work.
Well, that's
That's how it
interesting.
goes.
I had no idea that was happening.
Yeah, because remember, even if you look at the Scottish rite, like look at Brother Albert Pike, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has books where he lays out a ritual for you of the first 3 degrees of the Scottish rite. You can look it up on Amazon. And the first 3 degrees of the Scottish rite are not exactly the same as the first 3 degrees as we're used to working them in America.
I'm going to agree with you because when I visit, it's Lodge number 7, Centennial Lodge number 7, out of L.A. They meet at the Oddfellow Hall in Los Angeles,
Right.
and when they open the degree work, you're absolutely right. And I say that only because in their meeting they do what they call the fraternal assistant bag, where they get up. I want to say this. I can't think of the position for which this gentleman held, but he got up and walked around the lodge in a complete circle and passed the fraternal assistant bag around. They do that at every.
Right.
They do that at every meeting, and
Right.
I've only known that to happen in the Scottish Rite LOP where we do that at.
Right. So again, the Scottish rite as a whole body is an official, there's an official way to work the degrees from the first to the 33rd in the Scottish rite. The only thing that happened with America and the United Grand Lodge of England, right, is that the United Grand Lodge of England was like, nah, in order for the Scottish rite to operate, you have to submit yourself to us.
Wow. Okay.
Meaning the United Grand Lodge of England. This is why when you read the Constitution book of the United Grand Lodge of England, which you can do by going on the website, they'll tell you that Freemasonry is only entered apprentice, fellow craft, master mason, and the Holy Royal Lodge. All you have to do is go on their website. You can print out their Constitution book. It's not that long. And the United Grand Lodge of England, that was their thing. Like, hold on, we have to suppress the rights. The Scottish rite, the what other rights? Not just the Scottish rite. The Scottish rite, the Schroeder rite, the French rite. There's a bunch of rights.
It is. It's a lot of rights.
Right.
And
right.
I don't know how many people know that how many rites there are as far as Freemasons are concerned, especially outside of your first, second, and third degree, because it's practiced differently than what we do here. Like I was trying to explain the other evening when I was talking about the three types of masonry, and definitely abroad is just the way they structure and the way they're set up is just different.
Hell yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Even with like the United Grand Lodge of England, like you go to that country, their right to the rest of the Masonic world, it's not really a right, you know, but all the majority of the other Masonic jurisdictions call the United Grand Lodge of England style of masonry, right? So what their so-called right is known as is the emulation right. It's called the emulation work. All you have to do is Google it, and they publish textbooks. They publish a ritual book, the United Grand Lodge of England. It's a little hardback. It's a little hardback blue book. The little book. They publish it officially. And you can read the cipher though. Like if you buy the book.
Well, like the brother, this gentleman just said. He said the more rights, the more chances of alteration. Alteration equal irregularly and equals clandestine. But that's not necessarily so, because my Grand Lodge has its own ritual.
Right.
And you know, that just got completed. We're done with it, and we'll be putting it out there at the grand session. So,
like with the United Grand Lodge of England, for any brother that's serious about the study of masonry, Google it. They spell their official monitor. The Grand Lodge of England. It's where the emulation works. It's a little dark blue hardcover book. When you open the book, it's going to have a cipher in it. Most of it is in regular language, but some of the words are in cipher. So, like, let's say where the word previously appears, right? It'll say CT, right? If you come across, and whom do you put the trust, right?
Right.
Say IW, B, Y, P, Y, T. You know what I mean? So when you come across the ciphers, you'll be able to read it because you're going through the ritual. But it's different. Like with the United Grand Lodge of England, like the Master Mason degree, the Master Mason has 3 tools according to the United Grand Lodge of England work. And it's not the trowel. Their 3 tools for the Master Mason are the direct, the compass, and the pencil. All you have to do is just get their ritual, bro. It's published. It's not a secret.
Which ritual is that again?
The United Grand Lodge of England.
Okay.
It's called the emulation work.
Okay.
It's officially published by the United Grand Lodge of England. That's their official Grand Lodge ritual. For the Master Mason degree for them, it's not a tool of the Master Mason. Not for them. If you go to their lodge, if you go to any of their lodges in England, they're going to get different type of rituals, man. It's not going to be the same, bro.
Well, you know what? As I'm reading some of these comments, and as you were speaking and giving me some information on these different rituals and things like that, I'm finding we got a lot of trolls tonight. This coming here with the Jewish bashing, you know, and I get that. I get that, you know. But this is not that page for that, you know.
Yeah, but for me, like with the research log, I'll send everything, bro. I'll actually send you the book, everything, the links. It's not a secret thing, man.
Okay.
The thing is that the United Grand Lodge of England, their ritual is similar to ours. It's not the same. It's similar, but not the same. Not the same, bro. At all. It's similar, not the same. So, you know, like with their working tools, if you go out there and you try to, you know, give your catechism the same way they have theirs, it's different. It's similar, but it's not the same.
Right.
I would say about, with the United Grand Lodge of England, in comparison to America, I'll say that about 60% of their ritual is identical to ours. and that's about it, about 60%. But the rest, no.
Mm-hmm.
And with continental masonry,
Uh-huh.
with the Grand Orient of France,
Mm-hmm.
no, it's a different type of thing, bro. Like every
So
lodge
how do you
all right.
so how do you perceive the Grand Lodge of France in Black Masonry?
I would say that I was telling the traveling man who comes on your channel, he's a real Mason, I know him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very smart, bro. He's Mason. But he was, like him, he was a continental Mason first
Uh-huh.
for a little while. And then he became a mainstream Mason.
Okay.
So he's well educated. He's a good brother to speak to about the differences.
Mm-hmm.
With continental masonry and the mainstream type of masonry. It's a similar type of thing. You just have to be the type of brother that, like you say, that you travel, that tries to network with other Freemasons. And if you do that, you'll see the difference.
I'm gonna say this here. Little revolutionary supporter. If you don't like me pulling your comments, you need to be more respectable on the page now. This is not about what the United States did and how they ambushed and how wars got started and how the Jews started a war. This is not that show. All right? Now, we're pretty open about a lot of things, but come on now. Now, if you're going to be a revolutionary person, and that's great. I mean, do that. But this ain't that show for you to be bringing in all that other mess.
I don't want to kind of get lost. So you said simple. There was another part that I overlooked that you asked. As far as
He said for me to go back and read the quote, but I've deleted it.
no, I'm saying you overlooked it a little bit. That's what I just
Okay. So yes, we know a lot. We know that the Jews have done some messed up stuff. I mean, come on now, we all know that. And then for Israel attacked SS Liberty and did 9/11, the Jews have been kicked out. Okay, all right, that's all fun, but I'm going to start deleting these now. Come on, you got to do better. This is not that page. I'm trying to be nice to let you post freely, but be respectful. All right, we can continue.
You had said something, though. I overlooked a little bit. So you had asked something, and I kind of lost track a little bit.
Okay, I was asking in regards to the connection with the French and Black Masons.
Oh, yeah, okay. So now, let's say in New York,
Mm-hmm.
like I was telling the traveling man, that's why I brought him up. There's a Grand Lodge out here that's called Omega Grand Lodge.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Omega Grand Lodge, yes.
Right. So when it started, it was independent. You know, Black Ancient Free and Accepted Masons, it was independent.
Mm-hmm.
Then in the 1980s, they appealed to CLIPSAS, right? CLIPSAS.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is the Masonic Federation of Continental Freemasons.
Okay.
And they appealed to them for a recognition or amity with that federation.
Really?
Yeah, and it was subsequently granted. So the brother that has been the Grand Master of the Omega Grand Lodge about 2 years ago, and 7 years prior to 2 years ago, he was the president of CLIPSAS.
Mm-hmm.
And with CLIPSAS, it's a simple thing. Like the federation has to watch over you, not watch over you, but they want to see that your Grand Lodge has been active for, I want to say, 2 years.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Right.
You know, 2 years without crumbling.
Right.
And that you are liberal.
Uh-huh.
In your Masonic practice. Liberal meaning that you are adogmatic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they want to see that, okay, you're not trying to teach your members that they have to be Christians or Muslims or,
Mm-hmm.
Some dogmatic thinking. They want to see that you're free of dogmatic thinking and that you're working the regular, rituals of Freemasonry. And then you have your petitioning fee, as with anything else. And then that's it. They take a vote, all the Grand Lodges and Grand Orient, they vote you in, boom, and then your Grand Lodge becomes a part of Clipsers. So, like the Grand Orient of France, they were absent for maybe like 5 years or so at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they broke away, and then they came back into that federation. But anyway, the Omega Grand Lodge of New York has been a part of that federation since the 1980s.
Really?
So, yeah, and their Grand Master has been the president. You know what I'm saying? With the exception of like the past 2 years,
mm-hmm.
he was the president for a long time. So, yeah, man, you have.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, it's called all we got to do is CLIPSAS. It's the biggest federation of liberal Masonic Grand Lodges, and the Grand Orient of France is now again a part of it. So it is a federation, bro. That's all it is. They don't get into like, oh, you're irregular, bogus, none of that.
Really?
The thing is that
you know what?
They don't get into that.
Send me that information on that.
Yeah, definitely. I sent you part of it, but I'll send you again all the information in detail with that particular federation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they do it, bro. That's it.
So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back and address some of the things that's been posting. Some of the stuff has been pretty. It's been pretty good, but I won't discuss some of the craziness. But I will discuss the fact that little revolutionary supporter. Yeah, the African American community here in the United States has been in trouble a long time. Since we get off the damn ships, we've been in trouble. Okay, so what you're telling me is nothing new. The ideal is we need a solution to the trouble. Now, several solutions has already been offered to us in regards to it. The ideal is. Go ahead. I'm going to say this. We have solutions, but a lot of us are not ready for the solution, brother. All right? It's just that simple. All right? For those of us who are ready for the solution, we doing things right now. But for those of us who are not ready, they're not ready, man. So little revolutionary, I appreciate your posting, but we're gonna have to move on from that. All right?
Yeah. You always have cowards and eavesdroppers, bro. They try to come in. Like I was telling the guy the other day, he's like, "Oh, this about Masonry." Like, bro, are you a Mason?
Mm-hmm.
Like, have you attended lodge? What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That
right.
You have to be open-minded enough to know that. It's like the mosque. If you've never been in the mosque, I'm not saying, I'm just using it as an example.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never been inside of a mosque, how can you really talk about it? You don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's secondhand information. You don't know.
Uh-huh.
So it's like that with Freemasonry, man. You can read whatever books you want to read, man. But unless you come into the Masonic temple, you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying, because a lot of people ask me all the time, and I've said it before, how can you go to the mosque and go to church? It's very easy for me to do. It's
right.
Easy.
Yeah, so if you go in there, then you can say, like, oh, I'm familiar with it. I know what the protocol is like. I know what the ritual is like. But with Masonry,
mm-hmm.
if you read the book New World Order, but you've never been in a Masonic temple, you can't say nothing, bro. You get what I'm saying? Anybody can publish a book.
That's true.
But you can't say, I know this is what the Masons do, but you've never been in the Masonic temple.
That is true.
Then that's falsehood. That's not truth, man. It's falsehood.
So look, I don't have anything to add tonight, but I have learned a lot listening to you, and that's a fact. So I definitely need to get with you so you can give me that. You can give me the ritual you was talking about.
Absolutely.
And you can give me that other information as far as Calypsy. How you pronounce that?
Oh, Clipsers.
Yes, you can give me that.
CLIPSAS. I'll definitely send you the link. And as far as who was I speaking to that just joined your research lodge? The brother. I know he's watching the show.
Brother Jackson.
What's his? Jackson, right?
Yeah, Brother Jackson.
Martial arts, brother. Yeah, Brother Jackson, yeah. So yeah, like with him, I let him know already too. Like as far as any rituals dealing with Grand Army and Masonry, because we keep it on deck. This way, like if you visit, and I'll send you that information. Like their Grand Army and the France lodges in America. If you want to visit, bro, they're gonna let you visit, hands down, bro. It's different, bro. It's not like mainstream Masons. Everything is according to the ancient customs, bro. Trust that. So, I'll give you that. Even the rituals, like Grand Orient of France rituals. You know how the first degree ritual is, the second degree ritual, the third degree ritual. You know, you already have Memphis, Mizraim. So, you know, all of that I definitely got you, bro.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. So we're going to end tonight's show on that note, knowing that, you know, in celebration of Black History, that we was able to share some information with you, and knowing those who have forged the road and have really put their lives on the line. And, you know, I mean, we're doing it today. There's no difference. It seems like the more things change, the more they stay the same. It's truth. You know, it's just the fact of the matter. Right now, sometimes I'm growing up in Mississippi and I look around myself, I'm like, things really hadn't changed that much. This shit was like really undercover. But now that we have who we have in office, it just seems like it just opened the door again. Like, come on home, you know? But wow. But certainly, let's make sure we stay in touch and you give me that information.
Absolutely, man.
All right. And to everybody who came on tonight, I appreciate it. If you want to call me, I'm going to be hanging on for another 15 minutes after I log off. So the number is 619-286-0642. If you want to call in after the show is completed tonight, just want to say thank you. And just remember, you know, on both ends of the spectrum, be it Black Masonry or White Masonry, if you're going to do this, if you're going to practice this thing we call Freemasonry, let's do it the right way. You know, let's do it the right way. It's not about your Grand Lodge. It's about you as an individual growing to become a better person through the teachings and the symbolism which we use in Masonry to better ourselves in our lives. So with that being said, and to my sisters of the Order of the Eastern Star, peace and be well. I hope you was able to get something out of this tonight. I know we didn't really touch on the Eastern Star like sometimes we do, but definitely, like I said, 15 minutes after the show, give a call. 286-0642, area code 619. So until I see you again, till I speak to you again, hey, Freemason Unlocked.
Break out too, though. I'm doing an episode on riding the goat, man.
Oh yeah. When you gonna do that?
Yeah.
When you gonna do that?
Yeah. I'm going to upload it within like the next 3 days. So on my channel. So
hey.
Check it out, though, bro. I was gonna talk about it.
Do me a favor before we go offline. Why don't you connect your page on here? Why don't you put your page on here if you can?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's Freemasonry Unlocked. A lot of people know, but I'm gonna upload that riding the goat, the symbolic meaning, and it's esoteric. I don't put anything that violates, you know, the modes of recognition and nothing like that. So brothers know.
Brother Shah,
I'll send you the link.
Yeah, Brother Shaheed said, little. I think that's little revolutionary. He said this brother has put us in danger by talking about the Jews.
Yeah, we good, man.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh boy, you got me rolling tonight. That's one for all ages right there. That's one for all ages. I tell you, he said, brother putting us in danger tonight. Oh my goodness. So look, 15 minutes after we off tonight, I got 15 minutes to spare. If anybody want to give a call, do that. Please check Freemasonry Unlocked. The brother has an awesome channel. I appreciate him calling in, teaming up, educating me on some things and helping out. And for those of you who are a member of Research Lodge number 147, I want to say thank you for your information. And to each of you, please, as always, let's keep our brothers and sisters in prayers, because a lot of people are going through a lot of things in their life, and it's cold outside. So,
and hold up, that means that you need to keep your light on
Oh yeah.
Stay out the
Yeah.
bushes.
Keep your light on and stay out them bushes. All right, I appreciate you. I'm out.
Peace.
Late.